Although several miles away, the writers' strike that Hollywood was struck with last year has also ignited a spark in the Korean entertainment industry. Several actors and their rights associations began to speak up about the real struggles they're facing, while also calling out Netflix for taking advantage of their situation to the point of exploitation. In the West, the Writers Guild of America demanded better compensation for their work, higher residuals, and better regulations for the use of artificial intelligence, stating that it should be used as a tool that can help with research or facilitate script ideas, not as a tool to replace them. A few months later, the American Actors Union, SAG-AFTRA, joined the writers' strike over a labor dispute with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers. The industry suffered great losses, with lots of writers fired and a huge profit lost. And now, Korea's entertainment industry is facing similar challenges. Production costs for Korean dramas are rising, which is causing a decrease in the number of dramas produced. The Korean Drama Production Companies Association took matters into their own hands and called a meeting with different drama production companies and TV platforms in order to reach a solution to this issue. The meeting took place on January 16, 2024, and the main topic to be discussed was how the lead actors are requesting very high fees per episode. It seems that the higher the pay for the main actors, the lower the pay for the staff and extra cast. However, at least 2 main actors are needed in a K-drama to make the series worth watching for many passionate K-drama viewers. So producers are being forced to agree to higher fees in order to get better chances at being successful. But this is what's leading to the K-drama's budget being quite limited. One representative from a production company stated with great worry that some star actors pre-select broadcasting platforms before signing contracts, frequently changing scripts on set and even replacing directors. In such scenarios, it becomes disheartening for production companies, raising questions about their role in the process. Urgent solutions are needed, whether through negotiations with management agencies or policy formulation. Another representative from a production company stated that while preparing for a recent project and proceeding with casting, actors quoted fees of $300,000, $487,000, and $500,000 per episode. Fees are now centered around global OTT platforms like Netflix, presenting challenges. He gave an example of how this problem was dealt with in China, where an actor's fee cannot exceed 40% of the total production cost, and the fee for leading roles cannot surpass 70%. He finished his argument by stating that Korea urgently needs similar guidelines for a healthy ecosystem. It's common knowledge that a main actor will get paid a good sum of money for the role they're playing. If a renowned actor is not on board with the production, the licensing fees for the project are set unreasonably low, and difficulties arise right from the investment stage. This is the main reason why producers agree to higher fees for star actors, leaving little to nothing for upcoming actors that are just getting started on screen. The Culture, Sports, and Tourism Committee Chairman Lee Sang-hoon presented a report from the Korea Broadcasting Actors Union and the Korea Broadcasting Performers' Rights Association to support this, and it showed how big the payment gap between the parties is, and honestly, it's infuriating. For example, analyzing the show Payback starring the late Lee Sung-gyun, it was revealed that it had the largest pay gap between lead and extra actors. Actor Lee Sung-gyun received about $149,000 per episode, while actors who played minor roles or extras got paid only about $74 per episode. Although we understand there must be a difference between the main and supporting actors, the difference is ridiculous and almost impossible to believe. But the Korean actors also recently reacted to the issue, shocking the public even more. From what we can understand about the report, the main problem lies with how the contracts are made. When contracts are used without mentioning working hours or other conditions, supporting actors with little appearance fees may receive sums below the minimum wage. It was also noted that the starting actors are responsible for other expenses in order to be part of a show, such as wardrobe fees, and that money comes right from their own pockets, which leaves them with an insignificant sum of money. This is because these contracts only pay them for every episode they're part of. Since appearance fees are based on the number of episodes rather than the amount of time spent filming, the concern that the Korean system does not fairly compensate actors for their time and effort is both valid and alarming. Actors should be treated fairly and better, there's no doubt about that. And here's where Netflix comes in. Since many companies can't agree with the main actors about their fees, they turn to the streaming platform with open arms. Netflix has been called out for exploiting the Korean acting industry by offering better fees and keeping main actors away from their their homeland productions, but it seems that these high payments are only offered to some of the biggest actors, leaving staff, extra cast, and even directors way behind in terms of payment and with no benefits from residuals. So once again, those who are not among the top actors struggle to get a fair share of their work. Adding insult to injury, production companies don't always fairly compensate actors for the additional work they put in. And the fact that Netflix shoots take longer than most actors are used to means that supporting actors are basically working harder for less pay, and they can't afford to do so. But still, they don't get too much of a say. Despite Netflix's claims that production companies handle meals, transportation, and accommodation, actors are not given any of these benefits. So it's not only understandable, but fair that struggling actors want a part from the residuals. But although the Korea Broadcasting Actors Union has pleaded with Netflix for new and better settlements, the streaming platform has yet to help them. There's no doubt that Netflix has given South Korean actors, writers, and directors more global exposure and higher production budgets, but still, union members are demanding that Netflix start compensating the industry fairly for all the profits they've gotten from their productions. Yoo Min-suk, policy director at the Actors Union, stated in an interview with LA Times that Netflix makes use of the country's broadcasting and content infrastructure just as much as anyone else, and he also added that that's why we're saying that they have an obligation to meet with us. Song Chang-gon, who is the current president of the Actors Union, stated that one of their first priorities when entering the local market should be to establish some channel of communication with groups like us, but there's no answer at all. The union says that residuals and low payments aren't the only issues with Netflix. The platform has been keen on using AI actors and voiceover actors as well. Some members who have worked on Netflix voiceovers stated that contract signings are hurriedly carried out on site. One voice actor requested to remain unknown in fear of losing his job and stated that all the Netflix contracts were really long and they were all in English. There was never enough time to read through it carefully. And even if I did object to something, it would just mean that I wouldn't be taking the job. As they turned the pages, the employees could only explain to her that her rights were being transferred, she said. Although it's understandable that Netflix has their contracts written in English, it could also be a courtesy on their part to have those contracts in Korean since they're hiring Koreans for the job. Even though the conflict is still persistent, actors, writers, and directors are eager to work with the streaming platform since it carries great weight in the global industry and it's a one-of-a-kind opportunity to increase their personal brand. Such is the case of actor Joo Ji-hoon, famous for his role on Kingdom, Netflix's first original Korean drama in 2019, which set the pace for the upcoming productions. Recently, the actor gave an interview to German magazine Mr. Icon, all while making history as the first ever Korean celebrity to ever be on the cover of said magazine. During the interview, he shared his opinion about Korean productions and threw a low jab at Western streaming platforms about their views in terms of money regarding those productions. He firmly stated that although platforms such as Netflix and Disney Plus exist, their structures need to change. Even though Korean films have proven themselves successful, the streaming platforms' production fees and proposals have remained the same as before. He continued to press the issues by expressing how these platforms needed to give proper recognition to those actors, directors, and everyone involved in the productions, along with proper payment. He ended the interview with a strong statement and left some food for thought for the public. Squid Game saw massive success, but did you guys treat the director or the lead actor, Lee Jung-jae, appropriately? President Song of the Actors Union has also stated that there is undoubtedly common ground that can be found between them and SAG-AFTRA. He also shared, it would be helpful for similar organizations representing actors around the world to engage with one another and build up a sense of solidarity. I think that's important. In the meeting that the Korean Drama Production Companies Association held with several other production companies, they discussed the idea of calculating costs not on episodes but on production times, shooting days, and hours worked. Although the competition with the higher fees that global platforms offer to main actors is still an issue, the union has yet to lose faith. They're still trying to find a middle ground in which they can get a fair share of payments for supporting actors and increase their budget for K-dramas.